Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Warren.
And it's Chris.
And we just saw Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Literal candy from the movie. This is going to be our non-spoiler review. We're just going to kind of talk openly about it and discuss what we thought of the film. Now, before you're...
the spoilers you were looking for.
They are not the spoilers.
Not
So, you're going to get two opinions here because I absolutely loved the movie. Chris, not so much. So these are kind of non-biased opinions to the best of our ability. We're going to kind of give you both sides to it. I really loved it. To me, it was the best of the trilogy. I don't know. I just really loved it.
And I can't stress enough, these are just honest opinions.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a professional critic by any means. I love Star Wars. I know all the movies. I know a lot of the behind-the-scene details, and this is what we do. We talk about the movies. We watch the trailers. Yeah. Going into the movie, I was not blinded. I didn't expect anything that didn't come, and I didn't hate it. And I talked to Warren about it as we're walking out of the theater because we didn't wait to talk about it, obviously.
And this was 20 minutes ago.
No, we literally just got home.
We just got home.
But I didn't hate the movie. As a movie, the movie was good. What I'm having a hard time doing is separating the trilogy from the movie. It is my personal opinion that this trilogy is a travesty. That's honest. I cannot get behind the storyline here. A lot of the characters just give me a hard time to give them that emotional connection that I have with so many of the other Star Wars characters. So that's my big issue. On its own, the movie's pretty good. Yeah. 100% worth going. But it's so hard for me to separate it from that trilogy.
And that's going to be hard for some people to do. It's going to be hard for some people to go in and be like, I'm going to judge this as a movie and not the final movie of
whatever
the
this
saga, the Skywalker saga, which is like a really big deal. Yeah, I mean, it's the final movie of the Skywalker saga. So people are going to judge it as that. If you judge it as a movie, it will probably be different, just kind of like Chris just said. But I will say that they did do justice to, I would say, the past with Leia. And
absolutely. No, there was a great showing from a lot of these legacy characters. They've been talking about, and this has nothing to do with what we've seen in the movie. This is what we were talking about yesterday, about the end of the legacy characters.
Right.
You know, how this is kind of like a big step for Star Wars as a genre.
Moving on.
We're moving on, and there wasn't like any particular thing that's like, oh, this is moving on, but they did have so many throwbacks that's like, hey, look at this. This is nice. This gives me a good feeling inside. And no, they did a wonderul job doing that. There was at 0 point was like, what is this?
Right, yeah. They did a good job with a lot of things, and I really enjoyed. I don't think there's really any scenes in there that I was like, this is stupid. Not to my recollection, at least, but there were many scenes where I was like, this is awesome.
No, there were
so many good scenes in the movie, and I guess the story, some of it may have been a little jammed into. It was a lot to take in.
There was so many parts that it's just like, wait, you said that too fast. Explain it a little better. It was just like, oh, here's this. Go ahead. This is your answer that you've been asking, and it's like,
oh.
What? Wait.
Hold on, I have more.
Back up.
Yeah.
I want a little bit more.
What just happened?
Yeah.
Right. So it is a lot to take in, but I think it all came together pretty well. You can definitely tell, and we talked about this yesterday, that they did try to correct the last two movies. They tried to correct 7 and 8, and they honestly, it wasn't bad. Like the correction part, it wasn't bad. What they tried to do.
There were without a doubt a few character redemptions.
There were some big character redemptions.
Big character redemptions, some specific things that we'll talk about tomorrow in our spoiler video. But like, it wasn't bad. I didn't have a bad taste in my mouth like I did in the other movies.
Yeah.
And like I said, my biggest issue, this out of the 3 was the best, but it's the trilogy. I cannot shake this trilogy. Here's number 3. And it's just hard to... And I said, I don't think there was anything they could have done to make that go away.
It's hard to redeem, if you thought this, 2 bad movies.
No, it's not. It's not going to happen. So if you're going into this movie thinking, hey, this is going to save the trilogy, it's not going to happen. I don't think it was doable.
Yeah, but it just all depends on your mindset. Like, I didn't think the other 2 were horrible. I enjoyed them. They weren't the greatest Star Wars films. They weren't my favorite, but I didn't think they were horrible. Mm-hmm. So me going into this movie, I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was amazing. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about this in the car. I'd give it an A. Chris would give it a C. Mm-hmm. Chris would said he'd give it a 75.
Yeah, I think as a movie, I gave it a 75. Shortly after that, as a trilogy, I gave it a 30.
Yeah.
I can't get behind the trilogy, but the movie on its own, very well done. A lot of really cool. If you're looking for fight scenes, if you're looking for a few little plot twists, it's all in there.
Some plot twists, some emotion. There's definitely some emotion.
And we talked about that a couple days ago, about that emotion. That was in there as well.
Yeah. There's a few things that Chris and I were talking about, like, this is probably going to get us a lot of hate, but things like Finn, nothing against the character, nothing against the actor. I just kind of found that his character doesn't matter too much.
If you took him out of the movie, nothing changes.
No, and he would be replaced by some just worker, like a soldier. Poe's character is super important. Obviously, there's a lot of characters that are really important, and some may disagree on this, but I think he was somebody who had a good story in the third one, but his character arc to me didn't
grab onto anything.
It didn't catch anything. Mm-hmm. It wasn't even closed. It didn't have any conclusion. It was just kind of there.
Mm-hmm. He was always just kind of doing his thing around everybody else.
Yeah.
And, there's people that are rooting for some stuff, rooting for other things. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like, his involvement from the beginning, like, the coolest thing about him was he's like the first stormtrooper who we met and who decided he didn't want to be a stormtrooper. Right. So that was super cool.
That was really cool.
So if that's what he's going for, he did it.
Well, right. And I get that. And that was really, really cool. But I also feel like there was something big supposed to happen
that
with
maybe
him,
never did.
And it never did. And that could have been because of the backlash that the first movie got. And that's fine, I guess. You do your best to try to cover it up. And again, nothing against his character. I don't dislike him. I just...
He's just kind of there. And there's others. There are other characters.
He's not the only one. He's just a main character, right? Poe serves a very specific purpose. Obviously, Rey has a very specific purpose. General Hux, I feel like everyone has, a very specific purpose. And he's her friend and Poe's friend. And, I get that. But he's more of, along the ride with Poe.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of he just kind of goes hand in hand with, hey, this is the team. And I think a big part of it is, and I have no idea what their plans are for the future. We know we're getting another trilogy,
right?
Which
they're never going to stop.
Here we go. But here comes another trilogy. But I don't know. Are we picking right up from where we landed? Is he going to have some kind of role in the future? Maybe they're just trying to give us a new character, and I get that too. Character development, hey, here's this guy. He's gonna have a role, but for now he's just gonna be part of the family, part of the team.
Right. And at the end, no spoilers, but at the end, there's something that happens, and you're almost kind of like, is that setting something up for the future? Mm-hmm. And I don't really know. Yeah. I think it probably is, if they're going to continue to take some of the characters from this trilogy and expand them, or if they're just going to cut everything clean and just start over.
No, 100%. And at the end of the day, my opinion is the same. Go watch the movie.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think. Come back tomorrow. We're going to have a spoiler video up. Let us know what you think about that on that one. But on this one, if you've seen it, guys, make sure not to comment any spoilers around.
Yeah, don't ruin it for
Nobody wants it ruined.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us to the end. Do comment down below if you have seen it. Give us a rating. I gave it a 75. Warren gave it a 95. What do you guys think? And then we'll talk about more of the spoilers, more into the details of the movie tomorrow.
We'll catch you guys here tomorrow.